Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing an Inoue versus Ahkmadaliev breakdown and prediction video. As Naoya Inoue, the reigning undisputed Super Bantamweight champ at 122, the Monster, defends his undisputed world title, all four championships at 122 against the former unified champ, Maharajan MJ Ahkmadaliev. They will collide this Sunday, September 14th, in Japan for all four belts. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. Apologies for not doing this video sooner. I didn't even think about it. I'm so damn busy, I didn't even think about it. But Canelo and Crawford isn't the only undisputed championship taking place this weekend. Naoya Inoue, a top 3 pound-for-pound fighter, has completely shut down the 122-pound division. Is going to take on Ahkmadaliev here. And I know I have enough of Japanese viewership, that I can release this video on about 3 or 4 days notice and should get a pretty good turnout. So make sure to check this one out if you get a chance. Now, if you haven't seen my breakdown videos before, first, we're going to do the side-by-side fighter comparison. Then we're going to do talk about the fight and what it means. Then I'll get into each fighter individually and break them down, asking the same questions on both sides. Then I will do the final 2 questions. One question and then my prediction on the fight. So let's start with the fighter comparison now. So Inoue, 30-0. Heads into this fight against Ahkmadaliev, who is 14-1. Inoue is coming in a huge favorite. And even though Ahkmadaliev is his mandatory number 1 contender, former unified champ, he's a big underdog coming in because nobody really thinks anybody can beat Naoya Inoue. Inoue's from Japan. Ahkmadaliev's from Uzbekistan. Inoue, 32 years old, where Ahkmadaliev is 30. They both, in their last fight, weighed in at 122 even. They are both 5'5", and Ahkmadaliev has a half-inch reach advantage. So very similar in size. Inoue is being picked by most people to win this fight. So this fight, what is at stake? What does it mean? Well, I mean, to me, this is the last guy Inoue should really fight at 122. I really don't think there's anybody else that has earned any kind of fight with Naoya Inoue. I mean, Ahkmadaliev, before he lost to Tapales, was next in line. He was the unified champ, and he got upset in that fight, and Inoue went on to destroy Tapales. But I really think MJ is the most deserving and maybe the most dangerous opponent to Naoya Inoue. And so he's the last gun at, in the yard. He really is. I mean, at 122, I mean, there's the, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name, but there's the other Japanese champion from 118 pounds at bantamweight that can move up that they've been talking about. But outside of that, Inoue really has nobody left that really is a threat to him. So, there's a lot at stake for Inoue to run through Ahkmadaliev, because then there really is no doubt whatsoever. And whenever Inoue fights, it's exciting. We know in the last 2 calendar years, he has been put down twice, especially in his last fight against Ramon Cardenas. He really got surprised by getting put down, and Cardenas caught him with some good shots. He really needed to bust up Cardenas before he stopped him late, or in the later rounds. But there's a lot at stake here. Undisputed championship, pound for pound for Inoue. Ahkmadaliev has a lot to prove, so this is a big fight. Now, let's look at each fighter, starting with the reigning champion, undisputed champion, Naoya Inoue. He's also a 2-division undisputed champ. Remember, he was the bantamweight undisputed champ. So we're going to look at his last 3 fights that date back to September of last year, when he took on former 122 champ TJ Doheny. He dominated Doheny in that fight. It was kind of a lackluster effort because Doheny really didn't deserve that fight at all. He was kind of popular in Japan. That's partly why he got it. Inoue just broke him down. An apparent back injury led to a 7th round TKO victory for Inoue. Then in January of this year, he would put all 4 belts on the line against replacement opponent Ye Jun Kim. He was supposed to fight Sam Goodman in December of 24 and then January of this year, 25, but Goodman pulled out both times, and Kim took the place. Inoue didn't want to wait for another opponent, and Inoue ran through him, knocking him out in 4 rounds. And then he took on Ramon Cardenas, a very good bout in which Cardenas put him down. This was back in May. He responded to Cardenas breaking him down. Really had to work hard. He got caught with some good shots in that fight, but had to break down Cardenas and scored an 8th round TKO victory to retain his undisputed title. So heading into this fight, I really think this is one of the toughest opponents that Inoue could be facing. And I think he wants to prove something. I don't think he wants to leave any doubt. I don't think he wants to get caught. I don't think he's overlooking MJ. I think the reason he's taking MJ on is partially to keep the belts, to set up the potential all-Japanese bout, but also, because he knows MJ was supposed to be the guy that he was going to fight for undisputed, and he might be a little bit further along. Maybe he would have moved up to featherweight already if it wasn't for MJ getting upset by Marlon Tapales a couple years back. So I think he's coming in ready to rock and roll and ready to put all his belts on the line and remain undefeated. I don't think the knockdowns, in 2 of his last 4 fights against Luis Nery and Cardenas are affecting him mentally at all. What does Naoya Inoue need to do to win this fight? He needs to avoid the straight left hand because that's going to be the bread and butter punch that MJ, I think, is going to be studying the fight with Luis Nery, trying to see where he can catch a lunging Naoya Inoue. So defensively, he needs to be moving his head. A body attack, I think, is going to work out well because MJ hasn't fought a ton the last couple years as he's been waiting around for his mandatory shot. He doesn't have a lot of pro bouts. He's only got 15 pro bouts. So I think Inoue really needs to try to bust up the body and wear out Marajan Ahkmadaliev. I don't think he needs to get into a slugfest because Ahkmadaliev can bang. He can hit, But he also needs to be moving to where he avoids the body attack of Ahkmadaliev because Ahkmadaliev is a good body puncher. So that's what I think he needs to do to win this fight. Now, can Naoya Inoue win this fight by knockout? I think he can. I've never seen really MJ get hurt, really. But he hasn't fought big power punching guys either. Inoue is a power puncher. I think he can knock out pretty much damn near anybody. So, yes, I think he can win by knockout. Can Inoue win this fight by a decision? Yeah, absolutely. Overall, I think he is the better boxer, but MJ is not bad. He's a pretty good fighter. What's the more likely? If Inoue pulls off the victory as he's expected to, what's the more likely outcome, a knockout or a decision? It would be a knockout for in my opinion, for Inoue if he wins this fight and retains his undisputed championship. What does a win mean for Naoya Inoue? It just kind of seals the division with a kiss, his undisputed run. It really sets him up big for the all-Japanese showdown or a potential, another fight by the end of the year, which is supposed to be taking place with Turki Al-Sheikh. He's supposed to be fighting, I think, in December. And it just leads up and builds up to that fight for him, and then eventually to the featherweight division, which most people feel he's going to do by next year sometime. What does a loss mean for Inoue? Well, shit. Inoue's top 2 or 3 pound for pound right now. If he were to get upset by MJ, I mean, MJ is not a pushover by any means, but if he were to lose this fight, I mean, it would be shocking to the boxing world. It would definitely devastate Naoya Inoue to lose this fight to Marajan Ahkmadaliev. Now, let's switch over to the challenger, the former unified champion, Marajan Ahkmadaliev, and let's take a look at what Ahkmadaliev has done in his last 3 fights coming in. His last 3 fights date back to December of 23, when he took on Kevin Gonzalez and bounced back from his first career defeat at the hands of Marlon Tapales, which is about 8 months earlier, when he lost the unified crown. He came in just destruction mode. You know, he broke down a game. Kevin Gonzalez broke him down, beat him up, and scored an 8th round TKO to become the interim champion and mandatory challenger. Then he took on Ricardo Espinosa, scored an impressive 3rd round TKO win there on a straight left. And then he took on little-known Luis Castillo. That fight was stopped was stopped by the corner in the 8th round, as he has been undefeated since the lone defeat to Marlon Tapales back in April of 23. So I think MJ is motivated. I think he knows he ruined his chance 2 years ago to get Inoue in the ring. He would have fought Inoue probably in December of 23 like Tapales did for Undisputed to unify all the belts. That would have been a monster fight back then for him. He knows that the performance he had against Marlon Tapales, you know, I think the better man lost that fight, and that was MJ. If MJ would have got that fight going early on, I think he wins. I think he was headhunting, looking for one big shot because he was a big favorite coming in against Tapales, and Tapales counterpunched him and outboxed him because of it. You know, and that cost MJ. But it was a very close split decision loss. And, you know, and he's learned from that. It was his only defeat of his career, and he's been red hot since. But he hasn't fought anybody even close to Inoue anyway. But he is going to be as ready as he'll ever be. This is a golden opportunity against one of the best fighters in boxing, period, and the absolute best fighter at 122 and the undisputed champion. But, MJ is not, he's not new to this. He's new to this magnitude of a fight because Inoue is far bigger in terms of name recognition overall to the sport. But remember, MJ back in 2020 defeated Daniel Roman to become the unified champ. Daniel Roman was the #1 fighter back then. So he has experience knocking off the top guy in the division. Now, is Roman Inoue Inoue? No. But MJ is not worried about being the underdog in this fight. He's ready to rock and roll, and I think he will be ready for this fight. Now, what does he need to do to win this fight? He really needs to counter. You know, he needs to see how Inoue is going to attack him first, in my opinion. I think a lot of guys come in with their own game plan, and then they try to apply that before Inoue gets off. I think he needs to let Inoue get off. Let Inoue win the first couple rounds without taking too much risk, and then see his speed, his power, counterpunch, in my opinion. Try to see if you can land that straight left and do some damage. I think Ahkmadaliev is a very good fighter. I think work the body, rip the body, and try to avoid the big exchanges. But if he gets caught in an exchange, wait for Inoue to pull out with his head straight up, because he does do that. He pulls out in a straight line, and those have led to his knockdowns. That's what happened against Luis Nery. He pulled straight out, and Luis Nery caught him with a big shot. So, I think if he can take Inoue into the later rounds, he might have a chance of wearing him down with his body attack. If he has a supreme game plan, you never know. An upset can happen. We'll see. Can MJ win this fight by a knockout? Well, we have seen Inoue get stunned. You know, not necessarily hurt, but he has gotten stunned lately. MJ can crack. He can crack. He can hit. If he were to pull off the upset, I think it probably could come by a knockout. But he'd have to land the picture-perfect S-type punch. But Inoue's an attacker. So that punch might be there to be landed. I do think it's possible. But Inoue has shown, even with a couple knockdowns, that he still has a pretty good fucking chin. Can he win by a decision over Naoya Inoue? That's going to be tough. Inoue's such a good boxer. He's such a good action fighter. And he is a very talented, very skilled fighter. So it's going to be tough to win a decision. If he does, it'd have to be a very close one. Now, what is more likely for MJ if he were to pull off the win? Is it knockout or decision? That's tough to say. I mean, I think it's about 50-50 because I think he would have to catch him cold and hurt him really bad in order to stop him. And Inoue is getting somewhat older, so I'm not saying that's impossible. But I do think he's skilled enough to potentially stay in the fight on points with him, especially if Inoue's overlooking him. So, yeah, I think it's about 50-50 if he were to pull off the upset, that it could happen by knockout or decision. So, what does a victory mean for Murajan Ahkmadaliev in this one? I mean, it means everything. He becomes undisputed champion and knocks off the #1 fighter. It's his career swan song right here. I mean, no doubt. He defeats the #1 guy and top 2-3 pound for pound in all of boxing, and the monster at Naoya Inoue in his home country, in his house. So, I mean, that would be just fucking golden for MJ right there. What does a loss mean for him? Well, nobody really thinks he's going to win this fight. So I don't think a loss really hurts him all that bad. I really don't. You know, yeah, he's kind of an unknown in terms of big name recognition. I mean, real boxing fans at 122, you know, who know the lower weight classes should know who he is. But he's already accomplished becoming a world champion, you know. Getting this fight, this opportunity is big for him. So does a loss hurt him that bad? I don't think it does. I think, yeah, any kind of loss hurts, of course. But to lose, in reality, to really lose, you know, like I know he lost to Marlon Taples, but it was a razor-thin split decision. I don't think he's really, I think that one more pissed him off than anything because he had to kind of restart. And that's what he's going to have to do if he loses to Inoue. But again, I think if he's going into it with with nothing to lose attitude, I think he's fine. I don't think a loss is really going to hurt him all that bad because nobody's really expecting him to win anyways. So now, final question on the fight. Is it better for boxing if the monster Naoya Inoue stays undisputed champ, or is it better for boxing if MJ Murajan Ahkmadaliev pulls off the upset? Well, that's a no-brainer. Better for boxing if Naoya Inoue stays the undisputed world champion. He's undefeated. It can lead to bigger fights. People like to see a guy that's never been defeated, the mystique of that. He's a pound-for-pound guy. He's a fun fighter to watch. He has a great style. He's got some highlight reel knockouts. Absolutely no doubt it is better for boxing if Inoue wins. But would it be bad for boxing if MJ wins? Absolutely not. To pull off an upset of this magnitude wouldn't be bad for boxing. Now, what is my prediction? Who's going to win this undisputed title fight at 122 pounds this Sunday, September 14th? I can't pick against Naoya Inoue, guys. I just can't. The guy is so incredibly special and good. Even if you think he has a chink in his armor, and he does, he backs out after attacking sometimes. And that's what's led to his knockdowns, especially against a world-class fighter like Luis Neri when they fought in early 2024. But it's how he's bounced back from those. If he can avoid getting hurt badly, you know, which we pretty much can, and he takes this fight serious without overlooking MJ, which he will, he's already had the couple knockdowns now against a world-class fighter in Neri, and he came back and destroyed Neri after that, like completely obliterated him. Then he takes on an unknown guy in Cardenas, got knocked down, had to work hard in that fight, wasn't expecting it. I really don't think he's going to overlook MJ in this fight. Do I like MJ? Do I think MJ's got that type of power, that one-punch power that he could really hurt anyway? Yeah, I do. Don't overlook MJ. Murajan Ahkmadaliev, don't overlook him. Really good fighter. But not on the special level of Inoue. Remember, to me, there's a level above great. That is special. And that's where I think Terrence Crawford, Alexander Usyk, and I put Naoya Inoue in that class. Those three. So, this is going to be a good one for as long as it lasts. I really do think MJ is somewhat of a live underdog. Don't count him out. But I think Naoya Inoue is going to take care of business and get the job done and stay your undisputed super bantamweight champion of the world at 122 pounds. So that is it. That is what I got. That is my Inoue versus Ahkmadaliev breakdown and prediction video, as they will clash for the undisputed super bantamweight championship of the world this Sunday, September 14th from Japan. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.